Juneteenth is a celebration of the end of slavery in the United States. It is tied to or originated in Texas, where slavery ended last in the United States. Slaves became aware or were made aware that they had been liberated when a Union general who led a troop who had taken control of Texas arrived, stood on a balcony of a mansion in Galveston, Texas, and read what is essentially a proclamation about the liberty of slaves. The Emancipation Proclamation, signed by Abraham Lincoln, had gone into effect on January 1st, 1863. This Union general was making his announcement on June 19th, 1865. Slave owners across the South, as far east as Georgia, South Carolina, had begun moving slaves towards Texas to try to hold on to their slaves. Hundreds of slaves were forced into Texas, which is one of the many reasons that Texas has one of the largest black populations in the United States today. Being a native Texan, I can tell you that I think there are many, many stories that have been handed down in families about what people did when they learned about emancipation. But I think the combination of the monumental nature of this change and the struggle to even have the liberty to celebrate this change really began to spread the idea of this tradition of celebrating on Juneteenth. And at this point, there are at least 16 states who officially recognize Juneteenth as a holiday.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.